So we're now going to move on to working through the program week by week and day by day. So this is week one of the program. So included in this program, I have my client's college weekly timetable, so it stays the same each week. And I've also got his rugby training and when he has matches included as well. So that gave me an idea of when I can add in training slots for him. So first we can see on Monday, he had college at 10:15 till 3:45. But after that, I fitted in a plyometric training session for him on a Monday evening. So plyometric training will help develop my client's muscular power by raising the force and power of muscular contraction. And this is vitally needed in sports, in most sports, or especially ones like rugby, which obviously require large amounts of explosive speed and power. So for a warm-up for the plyometric training, obviously plyometric training usually, well, this one in particular, it's all going to be leg specific explosive power exercises. So ensuring that the legs are nice and warmed up is really important. So things like lunges, so forward lunges, side lunges, reverse lunges. So as an example, forward lunges help to stretch out the hips, groin, and the hip flexors, which are all incorporated in plyometric training. So if you held each lunge for 30 seconds, that would be ideal. And then obviously he can do some basic hamstring stretches as well. So touching his toes, holding them for 30 seconds. And also before jumping into the plyometric training, it might be worth spending a couple of minutes on an exercise bike, for example, at a low intensity, just to roll the legs, get the blood moving around the muscles in the legs before he gets into the actual serious training. So for the exercises, I'm going to start him off doing some box jumps on an 18-inch box. So plyometric box jumps are a very common form of plyometric training. It's really simple, easy to do. It can be done in the gym or at home. And all it involves doing is getting a box. In this situation, it would be an 18-inch box. And stand just in front of the box, bend the knees nice and low and explode upwards to land nice and tall on top of the box. Ideally, you should be trying to land with your legs straight because you've exploded up high enough. And for this specific exercise, I like him to do 15 reps and of 6 sets with a 1-minute break in between each set. So he'll be jumping up and getting down rapidly. He'll be doing this quickly. So as soon as he touches the box, he'll be stepping down and then jumping straight back up again. So it'll be really tough on his legs, but it's a great exercise for that quick, fast, continuous muscular contraction, which is going to help improve his leg power. Secondly, then we're going to have a knee tuck jump. So repetitions of the exercise are performed at a rapid rate with minimum contact with the ground. So as soon as he's made the first jump and he's landed, he'll be looking to explode up again in quick succession. He'll be doing 15 repetitions of 5 sets with a minute break in between each set to allow his legs to recover. So in terms of technique of this specific exercise, the drill is performed as a series of rapid explosive jumps. They exercise the hip and leg flexors, gastrocnemius, gluteals, quadriceps, and hamstrings. So you should assume a comfortable upright stance, placing the hands palms down at chest height. Begin by rapidly dipping down to about quarter squat level and immediately explode upwards. Drive the knees high towards the chest and attempt to touch them to the palm of the hands. And then obviously repeat this technique 15 times during each set. So that would be the first plyometric training session he'll do. Once this is completed, a brief cool down should be done to remove any waste products and to ensure that his muscles don't stiffen up and prevent him from performing at optimal level in previous training sessions. So for a cool down, all he needs to do is some very basic leg stretches, So it's like a standing quadricep stretch, hold it for 30 seconds on each leg, hamstring stretch again on the floor, or it could be he could put his leg up on something off the ground to get a bit more of a stretch. Lunging again is perfect. And then also I'd like him to foam roll his hamstrings, quads, and his gastrocnemius as a way of loosening up the muscle tissue to stop it from getting too tight. So on the Tuesday, he's got rugby training in the morning, so I didn't put any training program in for then. And on the Wednesday, he also has a rugby match, but I've put after the rugby match every week he should be including 20 minutes of stretching after the match, and that would include multiple different specific stretching exercises linked to rugby and the muscles that he's used, but I will send him a detailed list of them. And on the Thursday, I have continuous training. So for the continuous training, very simply, he's going to do a 30-minute run at around 70 to 80% of his max heart rate. So this is this is also described as steady state exercise. So it should be at an intensity that he should be able to maintain over a long period of time, obviously working aerobically. And before this is done, a few stretches should be done beforehand, same as plyometric training, to ensure that all of his leg muscles are nice and loose. And afterwards, once the run is finished, if he was to stop 5 minutes before his house and just walk home, ensuring he's taking nice deep breaths, that would be long enough for a decent cool down to allow his heart rate and breathing rate to slowly decrease to resting level. So the reason why continuous training is something that needs developing for my client is due to his results being below average in the yo-yo test. Rugby is a sport that requires high levels of aerobic endurance. Therefore, improving his aerobic endurance is a vital part of his training to ensure that he is able to perform at the highest level he can throughout the duration of a match. And obviously doing things like running or any other continuous training is something that's going to be really important to include in this program to increase his aerobic endurance. So that was that for the first week. I don't want it to be too intense on the first week. Ease it in nice and gently. We've got a bit of continuous training in there and also some plyometric training in the first week. So moving on to the second week, on the Monday we've got speed training. So with this going to be some prescribed ladder drills. So for the ladder drills, we're going to complete each repetition through the ladder 6 times, and each drill needs to be completed with speed, but it needs to be precise to ensure that he's getting the right technique, working the right areas of the body, and without injuring himself. So a few of the techniques I'd like him to do, or the routines maybe should I say, is the side straddle hop, which is quick lateral movement drills that engages your hips and adductors. So all you do is hop in and out of each box with both feet and avoid clapping the feet together. So a very simple one, but a very effective one saying that. Second one is in and out. So be facing the side of the agility ladder. It's going to touch in and out of each box with both feet. Obviously repeat this drill on both sides of the ladders. So that's a drill that ensures quick rapid fire feet in and out of each box. We've also got double trouble, which is involves following the pattern in, out, with the feet as quickly as you can. So obviously that's in, out of each of the squares in the ladder. And finally we've got 2 out, 2 in, 2 out, 2 in, 2 out. So that's 2 fast steps outside the ladder, then inside of the ladder, then outside the opposite side of the ladder, and then he'll obviously do that all the way down the ladder. So that's that for the speed training, the ladder drills. Obviously it's really important that his agility and speed is at a high level in rugby to be able to get round opponents, and also if they're on a break, the quicker you can move, the harder it is for the opposition to catch up. So then we have continuous training. So this time we're going to mix it up a bit. Instead of going on a run, we're going to do 25 minutes on an exercise bike on an effort level of around 5. So obviously when you get on the bike, you're able to change the effort level on the bike, which means you have to work harder and it's more strenuous, but we're going to go at effort level around 5, which is kind of moderate. So as well as helping to improve cardiovascular endurance, an exercise bike works hamstrings, calves, hip flexors and quadriceps. So it's kind of double bonus because it's working his cardiovascular endurance, but also helping with leg strengthening as well, which is obviously something we're looking to improve throughout this training program. So working on an exercise bike is helping to improve both of those aspects there. However, that it is important to mention in this situation that the main use of the exercise bike is to improve cardiovascular endurance and not leg power. So if I was using the exercise bike as a way of improving leg power, I would increase the effort level to put more strain on his legs. But in this specific scenario, we're looking to work sub-maximally for 25 minutes, really trying to improve the cardiovascular endurance. So once the 25 minutes is up, his legs is obviously going to be feeling a lot. There's going to be a lot of build-up of, not too much build-up of lactic acid, but there will be some. So some basic leg stretches again is going to be really important to avoid muscle stiffness and soreness the following day. So again, on the Wednesday, because he's got, the Tuesday and the Wednesday, I forgot to mention this, he's got rugby training. So each week, when there's rugby training or a rugby match, I will avoid putting any exercise in then to avoid overdoing it or overloading and potential injury. But after the rugby match, again, I'll just mention that it's really important that he stretches after each match. So he should spend around 20 minutes stretching, holding each stretch for around 40 seconds, ensuring all stretches are completed with the correct technique. And a few of the examples of stretches that I'll subscribe to him are lunging hip flexor stretch, figure 4 stretch, seated hamstring stretch, and standing quad stretch. So there are a few of the examples that I'll give to him to do after every rugby match and also rugby training. As well as stretching, foam rolling should be included. So this should be done in areas like the hamstrings, hip flexors, latissimus dorsi and gastrocnemius. Foam rolling is a perfect way for loosening up the muscles and ensuring they are loose as they can be. Finally then, for week 2, on the Sunday, we got a weight sledge workout. So sled pushes develop strength in the legs, giving you more power that will help increase your overall acceleration and speed. It also helps to improve repulsive force, because when pushing the sledge, you really need to drive your feet back into the ground. Obviously, the more weight on the sledge, the more force that needs to be produced from your legs to drive the sledge forwards as quick as you can. So for this specific exercise, specifically for my opponent, we're going to put the weight on the sledge at 30% of my client's body weight, which for my client would be 24 kilograms. So what I'm going to get him to do is push the sledge for 25 meters in a straight line, and then he'll do that 3 times in one set and complete a total of 4 sets. So like I said, this is going to be really important for him, for improving not just leg power but also upper body power, to be able to drive the sledge as quick as he can over the 25 meter distance, which is really vitally needed in rugby. Obviously, when it comes to making tackles or just being able to run as quick as he can across the pitch, having that leg power is really important.